Hello everybody, welcome to Scotty D Gaming. I'm Scotty D and today I'm going to be going over my endgame Demolisher grenade launcher build. Now the idea of this build and why I've built it this way is because the biggest challenge in this game are elites. Elites are what make or break your team, it's what gets you killed in the end, not the trash mobs, it's the hard enemies and taking them down. So I've built it around taking those down with extreme prejudice. So let's go over. We'll go over the skills first. So the idea is to keep the elites debilitated for as long as possible while maximising damage. It's pretty straightforward. I've put all of the most essential skills on the micro rockets because it is the best skill the Demolisher's got. Blast wave is good, but there's just no room for it when we put all of our skills in here, and I'll show you why it doesn't even matter. Okay, so the first three things we're going to attach to the micro rockets are all cooldown reduction, so we can use this as much as possible, and most importantly when we actually need it. The first one, quick charge 4, is available to buy from the shop. It's not very expensive. The second one is quick charge 3. That I believe is a reward for completing or making so much progress in the main campaign. And the next one, rapid deployment. You have to get the gunner class to rank 2 to unlock this for use on any other class. That's how I'm using it on the Demolisher. Okay, so the next two perks. Now, in total that gives us a 60% ability recharge speed or cooldown reduction. So normally the micro rockets is about, I think it's a 30-second cooldown ish. Our cooldown with this now is 19 seconds, which is a nice big wedge taking out of that cooldown. The next two abilities, loud and clear. Now we're not using this for the 20% damage increase from our rockets because our rockets do no damage anyway. We're using it because it generates an additional stack of clear the room. I'll go over why that's important in a minute. The next perk we use is fire and forget. So the micro rockets now debilitates enemies, causing them to take 25% more damage from area based attacks, which is perfect because we're using the grenade launcher. It also makes them bleed for 8% of their total life over 8 seconds, which means when you're reloading your gun, it's still taking damage. This is essential to maximise your damage. 25% increase in damage is not to be sniffed at. The modification we want on our micro rockets is definitely the concussive rockets. And that's because they have a larger explosion radius, which means you can capture more enemies in the blast, which increases your stacks of clear the room. But we're not concentrating on stacks of clear the room, but they are nice. But because it knocks down enemies, which gives us an opener for the next skill I'm going to show you. So bear in mind, when we fire micro rockets at enemies, it's going to knock them down. And that means down and out deals 20% more damage to enemies that are stunned or knocked. So in total, by hitting any enemy, or just say an elite with micro rockets, they're gonna take an extra 25% damage from area based attacks, and another 20% because they sat on the floor. That's an extra 45% damage just by hitting them with micro rockets and then following them up with the grenade launcher. Okay, so the next skills I want to go over are just to improve our heavy weapons. So we're going to use the Demolisher heavy training. We have to use this big square piece to get access to these two, because you have to attach them to this to be able to use them. Now what this skill does is it increases the max ammo of heavy weapons, which is always nice because you want to try and carry as much ammo with you since you don't get much ammo with the grenade launcher. Although it matters a little bit in the campaign missions because you don't always have an ammo box to sit on top of, but this doesn't matter so much on horde mode when you can just camp on top of the ammo box and spam grenades. But I would still take it with you because sometimes you can't get to that ammo box when the hordes of enemies are surrounding you and you need to have like enough ammo capacity just to get yourself through that wave. The next most important perk that I would attach to this is the Demolisher Heavy Expertise. It increases the radius for heavy weapons, which is great because when you're fighting an elite, you want all of your attention on the elite. You don't want to worry about the trash mobs. This is going to kill the trash mobs if they even get near you because of the area of effect of your grenade launcher, so just concentrate on the elite and everything else will fall into place. And it also increases the damage of heavy weapons by 10%. Nice. Now the next skill, this one, it's interchangeable. I prefer this one, but I will show you another skill which is beneficial depending on your playstyle. But I found that I don't need the other one, even though it is nice. I like picking the Demolisher Heavy Mastery because the fire rate and stability are increased by 15%. The stability we don't care about, it makes no difference to the grenade launcher, but the fire rate does. It allows us to throw down more grenades, more DPS to get rid of those elites ASAP. If you weren't bothered about the 50% fire rate, what I would recommend you switch this particular skill out for is the Assaultant Battery, because this means that each target hit by Blast Wave reduces Blast Wave's cooldown by 10%. It can be nice, but with my playstyle, I found I don't really need this, and I'll explain why in a minute. So, all in all, Blast Wave's got a 30-second cooldown. Micro Rockets has got a 19-second cooldown. So let me explain how these cooldowns are reduced because of Quick and Dirty. So Quick and Dirty, whenever Clear the Room expires, your ability cooldowns are reduced by 1 second for each attack that was lost. Now, we put Loud and Clear on, which generates an additional stack of Clear the Room. Now, Clear the Room grants 1 stack every time you activate an ability, and also another stack for each enemy hit. So let's just go on, we're only hitting 1 elite, because anything else is a bonus. Okay, so as soon as we activate Micro Rockets, this skill is going to give us 2 stacks of Clear the Room, and when we hit the elite with it, a bare minimum, we're probably going to hit more enemies with it, we get another 2 stacks, so that's 4 stacks total of Clear the Room for just hitting an elite with Micro Rockets. That's going to give us a 10% damage boost, and how I play this is I always make sure my grenade launcher is full. I hit the elite with Micro Rockets, unload the 9 grenades out of my magazine into the elite to maximise damage. As soon as it stands up again, I hit it with a Blast Wave to knock it back on its arse. But as soon as we activate Blast Wave, that ends the Clear the Room stacks, the 4 stacks that we generated with Micro Rockets. And because of this ability, that takes that directly off our cooldown. So in actual fact, even though our cooldown for Micro Rockets is 19 seconds, it actually ends up being only 15 seconds. That is phenomenal. So we've always pretty much got Micro Rockets available when we need it to take down elite, even if we're fighting 2 elites at once and we can't get them grouped together. So that is how it all works together. I'll go over my weapon section selection now. Okay then, weapon selection. Obviously the grenade launcher, it's, in my opinion, it's the best weapon in the game. So, now, I'm saying grenade launcher, there's actually 2 grenade launchers in the game. The one you want is the M94 impact grenade, and that's because it's far easier to use. Where it hits, it detonates, so you can fire it at the floor, fire it in the centre of a group of enemies, you know the radius is going to kill everyone, or you can fire it directly at an enemy's weak spot to deal weak spot damage. Because if you do manage to hit an enemy in its weak spot, you get an extra 50% damage, because it's the weak point damage of this weapon is 150%. You get an extra 50% damage for hitting it in the weak spot, and it's quite easy to do if you're up close and personal. Now, this grenade launcher doesn't have the biggest damage. I think it's by default it's got like 1048 damage without any perks or attachments. The other grenade launcher, which is a time sensitive grenade, it does do an extra, I think it's an extra 200 damage, but the issue is the grenades are timed. I'm sorry, like we haven't got time to wait for the grenade to detonate. We want it to detonate where we place it, so use this. Now for the modifications, you want for the tubular magazine, you want the alloy chamber. It increases your fire rate, magazine capacity, and stability. Stability doesn't make a difference, but the fire rate and magazine capacity does. That puts our magazine capacity at 9 grenades, and this grenade launcher fires pretty fast. For the barrel, you want the Miller twist rifling, not because of the stability and handling, but because it gives you a 20% chance on hit to make the enemy 50% slowed for 10 seconds. This is really handy in a shit hits the fan situation. If you need to get the fuck out of there to heal, or heal a teammate, or even just reload, the elites that you maybe haven't managed to kill in your first section of abilities, they're going to be slowed by 50%, so you can just get a bit of breathing room. If you weren't bothered about that breathing room, what I would recommend is the ratchet rifling, because it increases your fire rate by 20%, which is noticeable for more DPS, but for the safety, go for the Miller twist rifling. It's always best to be safe than sorry. For the armature, you want the deep railed armature. It increases your reload speed by 30% and also your maximum ammo by 20%. The more bullets carried, the safer you are when you can't get access to a ammo box. So that's that. Those are the attachments I've used for the grenade launcher, and I'll just show you how fast it fires. Don't expect it to be a machine gun, but it does put out a pretty good DPS. And there's 9 bullets, so that's a lot of damage there. And as you see in there, the reload speed is so fast. So you can just, if you're in a horde mode, you can just sit on an ammo box while it's reloading. Hold down square, it'll be picking up your ammo, and you can just soften the earth. Now, for your supplementary weapon, the weapon that you're not going to, well, in horde mode you're not going to be using much, but in the campaign missions you probably will be alternating between your grenade launcher and your rifle. The rifle that I like, I've been using it recently, is only available at the end of the game. Once you've completed the campaign, it becomes available to buy in the shop. It's the second highest damaging sniper rifle in the game, and the reason I've chose this one over the highest damaging sniper rifle is because you can carry more max ammo with it, which is great for going through campaign missions, so you're not running dry, which means you're not worried about wasting bullets on pathetic enemies. It has quite a high stumble chance, and it's got a good fire rate. The reload speed's okay, but most importantly it does 340% weak point damage, so if you do need to use this to take down an elite, it will pretty much liquefy it as well. The mods on this that I would recommend is for the large muzzle. Definitely go for the tanker muzzle brake, because it has a 33% chance to briefly stun enemies on hit. That's good for slowing down any approaching elites, but it can only occur once every 15 seconds, so just be wary of that. But it gives you 20% weak point damage and an extra 10% stubble chance and more effective range. For the magazine, I would recommend the extended field mag. It increases your magazine capacity by 20%, putting our, I think the magazine capacity on this is 5 by default, so it gives us an extra bullet in the chamber, and it also increases our maximum ammo by 25%. And for the scope, I would recommend the digital scope. Increases accuracy, weak point damage, handling, and zoom magnification. You do have a choice if you like it, but I don't, to use the ones that, like for example, the 4 times illuminated scope. It replaces your ADS with a full scope. I don't like that. I just prefer like no scope, just default aiming on mine, so I like the digital scope. So that's that. That is everything on my Demolisher. What I think I will do now is I will cut and show you this Demolisher class in play. I'll show you how fast it can take down elites. It's nice, and it allowed me to get to, I could have gotten further, but I was playing a bit shit. On my first attempt at horde mode, I got to level 19 solo. Now there's a couple of caveats that you need to know about this build, and why it may or may not be for you. Is that if you're playing on difficulty higher than standard difficulty, your area of effect splash damage will do damage to both you and your teammates. You need to be aware of that. If you are playing in a group, on higher difficulty, I would recommend you just let your teammates know whereabouts you're going to be aiming your grenades, just so they know to stay out of that blast zone, and that'll allow you to keep a certain area of the map locked down. That's about it. I'll show you some gameplay right now. It's probably going to be on standard difficulty because I've got name mates, so I can't play this co-op. I've got to play it with the bots, and the bots are absolutely useless even on standard. See you in a second, lads. Right, here we go. We've got a big fucking creature on its way. So let's get our skills on the go. Right, so micro rockets goes on the floor, absolutely destroy him, and then last wave, and he's dead. And then we've only got 5 seconds to wait for our micro rockets to be available again, and they're available now. Lovely jubbly. Come on, give me more. More. Give me more. Right, there's a bad lad coming in. Where is he? Oh, he's already here. Get wrecked. Oh, it's right behind us. Fuck you. Another one. Who is this bitch? Oh, it's a big boy. It's dead already. It's dead already. Did that just die of natural causes? I think that one just died because it knew I had a grenade launcher and I was like, not fucking about with that guy. that one fucking died of being scared.